story. I'm interested to know how. So you went from 19, 20, 21, having a baby, to then getting married at 28. How did you? What were those years like? And how did you meet this person? What was the falling in love and all of that like?
Those years was more of trying to get my foot in. You know, having a baby, trying to be accepted in society. It was a bit rough. Looking for job, getting a job. I got a job at the National Theatre. At a point, I got fired at National Theatre. I had to work with somebody and then struggle to take care of my baby.
Were your parents?
My parents died along the way. I mean, they died quite early. My father died 1994, 96. I got pregnant. My mom died 2005. May their soul rest in peace. I'm sure by now they're happy. Yeah. So, you know, it was just trying to get my foot in somewhere. And it was a bit terrible, but I was young. So I couldn't really, I don't really see it as being really struggling, even though I did struggle. Because at a point, what we eat was a problem. I remember I could get gari and then, you know, give it to my daughter to eat like that. I remember tea bag.
Just the gari.
Just the gari. In fact, I don't know if right now she doesn't like soaking because she liked soaking.
She liked out of necessity.
That was her favorite. You know, the tea bag, we put it in hot water and then we take it out, we'll dry it. So tea bag that somebody will use it for just a day and throw it away. I was using like three weeks. Yes.
3 weeks?
3 weeks. We'll dry it.
One tea bag.
Then we'll put hot water. So the time the tea bag, when you put the hot water,
it's clear.
It's clear. Yes. So, you know, that was some of the things I went through. I couldn't go out with my daughter because she doesn't have dress to wear or be like other children. But sometimes when I have to go out, you see me in slit and cover. The 6 yards, I'm able to get 6 yards. I have 2 tops and then 1 slit, so that at least I could change it.
You could change it.
And then, you know, I make sure I have my shoe. I have 2 shoes. Every time I have 2, brown and black, so that it goes with everything. I have 1 bag, so that it goes with everything. And the bag should be black. So that when I'm going for a wedding, it's the same bag. And up to now, I still can't change that.
It's become habit.
It become a habit. So that is what I went through with my small girl.
The father of your child, he's not part of the story.
At a point he took over.
Okay.
Yeah, at a point he took over, and I will recommend him because he has made my daughter who she is now.
Okay.
At a point she also took over, my daughter to a good school, and now she's doing well.
But the first few years he wasn't there.
The first few years he was a student, so he wasn't.
He was struggling.
We were both struggling. Yeah, we were both struggling. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you did this for a few years, and then you met this man.
And then during that time, I got a job at the airport. I went for an interview. In fact, the I don't know if you remember those. What do you call it? The telephone directory.
Yes, the yellow one.
The yellow one was my Bible. You know, when you open it, you see a lot of companies. Yes, I will write. And those times it wasn't the computer, it's a typewriter.
Yeah.
So we'll type, go and do photocopy the CVs, and that was my Bible. I applied. So many places. I remember Space Phone, Ghana Water, even Joy FM here.
Okay.
Yes, because I remember my cousin was then the marketing manager here.
Okay.
Emo Maulio Clue. Okay. I applied. I even came for an interview here, but I wasn't taken. So at a point, I went for an interview at the airport. And you know, I applied to the airport for 5 years before I was called for interview.
As in every year?
Like I applied in
every year for 5 years.
No, it was in 1990. I had the interview in 1998, so I applied in 1995. 1993, sorry.
So you applied, and then 5 years later,
I was called for interview.
How? Where?
Yeah.
Okay. So you sent in your CV in 1993.
1994, I would say.
And then nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
You didn't hear from them.
Yeah, I didn't hear from them.
And then 5 years later.
And then 5 years later, and I had a friend I was attending church with, and who was working at civil aviation.
Okay.
And that time I was working with Benza Limited. It was an Indian company in North Kanishi.
Okay.
So that day I didn't want to go to work, and I just got to work one day, and then the call came, and it was like, Adam, where are you? I said, I'm in the office. There is an interview going at Ghana Civil Aviation. You are the 10th person and you are number 6, so you better come. See, I was like, wow. Quickly I had to get myself to the airport.
So was this your friend who kind of put in
I don't know, but
you?
Maybe, but she called me that I was, and apparently the letter had been with her, and I used to go to church, like I was in the same church with her. So about 3 Sundays I had not been to church, so she didn't get me until somebody gave her my office number.
Oh, so she wasn't even like your friend?
Yeah, we attended the same church.
Wow.
Yeah, so she called me, and then when I got there, I was telling myself the usual interview. So I was looking crafty, very dirty. My shoes was dirty, my hair. And then she took me into the washroom, cleaned me up, gave me her shoes to wear, which was bigger than my foot.
Oh, gosh.
And then applied lipstick and, tried to make my hair, and I went to sit there. So, I didn't have any confidence. I'm tired of life. So I sat there, and then I remember one person asked me questions, and he said, look in the forms. He said, you have a child? And I said, yes, sorry, it's by mistake. He said, no, it's not by mistake. I said, okay. And then they asked me one question. So supposing your boss comes to the office and your boss says that she likes you, want to touch you, what do you do? And I said, me, if I like my boss, me too, I'll touch him. But if I don't like my boss, what do you do? He said,
no, you didn't.
I would tell him that.
You actually said that?
I said that because what else? I mean, I didn't know. So,
I'm just going to speak my mind.
I speak my mind and go away. And they said, okay. So if you don't want him, I said, I'll find a nice of telling him I don't want him. And they said, so if you want, what will you do? I said, at lunchtime, we'll go to a hotel and go and do our thing. And they all laughed. So they said, okay.
You really didn't say that?
I said that. I had nothing to lose because at the end of the day, I won't get the job.
You didn't think you were going to
I didn't think I would get the job.
Okay.
So one interesting said, okay, they'll give you an attitude test. And you know what? Proud to that, I was working at Ghana's National Theatre, and I was fired. And they gave me a letter firing me. Mm-hmm. And you know the question I was asked, the attitude test? Write a letter to a staff who has been fired.
Oh, wow.
And as a secretary, write that letter. And at that time, that letter I was giving was under my pillow. Every time I take it and read and cry. Wow. So I can easily tell you. So when I sat by
that's something else.
When I sat by the computer, within 5 minutes I'm done.
You were done? Because you've been reading and crying.
I gave them Ditto. Maybe it's the name that changed. But all that they told me in that letter that I was being fired, I gave it to them.
Do you remember some of it?
The letter? In fact, I don't remember.
Wow.
So I gave it to them. And you know what? When I was leaving, I have a child at home. So when I was leaving, they were drinking tea and biscuits. And they'll give you, I think, like 2 CDs for transport. So they asked me if I have any more questions. I said no, but I just want one request. Can I take the biscuits? They said, oh, why not? So I just picked one, like 4. Add this one to the next one, took tissue paper. And I was even chewing some because I was hungry. Wow. Hey, to hell, Charlie, these people, they will not call me. And I left. That was in like November, December, yeah. And carry on with my life. Mm-hmm. I was there. I was living with my grandma, trying to live a life. And then one day I went to the office, and the lady called again. Hey, into let her better how be 2 weeks. No friend, I said, then letter. Come on. When I got there, my appointment letter. Wow. That day, God. For so many years. My daughter was 3 years by then. I remember, and my pay was like 300 cedis. And at that time, My pay then at Benza Limited was like 20 Ghana.
Wow.
I went for my letter. I just don't want to share this.
It was fine. My eyes have already filled. Yeah.
I went for my letter. I was so happy. I cried. I remember that time I walked from the airport to Medina. Anyway, I didn't have transport. So I walked there. And as I was going, I was crying. I cried, and I got home and I told my grandmother, I have got a job at the airport. And you know what? Every time I was going to work, I see the civil aviation bus. They had a very big new plan bus with the blue and then the yellow, the white. That was our colors. That's our colors. And then you see the staff well dressed. And I stand there, I say, one day I will work here. I swear. I will wear this ketson. So I told my grandmother, I have gotten a job. I started work, my first pay. I took everything to church.
Wow.
And then just dumped into the bowl. I didn't tell anybody anything. I was attending church at Bema Camp. And then the following month was my daughter's birthday. And I had 3 days continuous birthday for her.
Wow.
Yes. And I remember around that time, Joy FM had Secretary's Week. And I faxed it and I got picked. And then we went to do the program at Golden Tulip. And Nestle Ghana sponsored and other companies. And I was stirred and I was given a hamper full of milk. My daughter was drinking 1 milk a day.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
From 1 tea bag 3 weeks to 1 milk a day.
1 milk a day, you know, and life started well for me. I cut my hair, I rebranded myself. And if everybody calls me who I said, call me Madam.
Hey.
So people who know me at the airport since 1999 calls me Madam. Some call me Great Madam. Because I was a madam, yes. You know, young girl, I have a job. So, you know, at the airport. Then I met this man who gave me heaven and earth.
Wow.
Heaven on earth. He was a politician, and then, you know, we got married. That was when I was 28 years. He became an ambassador. He exposed me. See, you wouldn't know which car I'll use in a day. The next day, you're seeing me another car. I have a seamstress who sews for me alone. I just call her, Charlie, and you may make a dinner, give me something. And then she'll give me something. I have a wardrobe full of jewelry, cloth. You can't look me in the eye twice.
You can't. You really can't.
You can't. You can't. I mean, hey, I enjoyed it. But I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. But I'm not going to say issues here, but I just want people to know I visited countries. I don't know which country I haven't been to apart from hell. I met with kings and queens. I dined with presidents. I sit in the car where there's a flag, Ghana flag. That is me coming because I'm a big man's wife or an ambassador's wife. I received dignities. That was my grace. Wow. I have a diplomatic passport. I come to work today. The next 3 days, I'm in the US. The next week, I'm in the UK. I travel with the First Lady then. That was my grace. I just want people to know how I enjoyed life.
Yeah, I can tell.
I'm a madam.
Great madam.
Thank you. I have a cook. I have a butler. Okay? I wear wig once and I don't wear it again. Yeah. When you see my wardrobe is full of kente. Different colors, different types. My jewelry goes with it. I have somebody who does the gold jewelry for me. and brings it to me and I buy. People rush to me and say, Pacho beto we ana. Mi pacho mi will be mau. I have something for you. Oh, this will go for you. And that was the kind of life I led. Then everything crashed down just like that in a twinkle of an eye.
Just like that.
I lost my home. I lost my husband. I was on the street.
How?
Yes. The marriage didn't work. I tried. I cried. I prayed to God for answers. What am I going to say? What am I going to tell people? Hey, I lost the cars. I have to now take trotro. When I sit in trotro, I bow down. I see if that somebody knows me. I was hungry.
You walked away with nothing.
Nothing.
Why did you walk away with nothing?
I needed to be alive for my son. I needed to be alive for my children. I remember I told my son one day, he was blaming me why I left. Because we grew up with some certain lifestyle.
Yeah.
Where you have to go to the pool, go to the cinema.
How many years were you married for?
I was married for 8 years, 8 years. Now, we live in the house. First, I had to go and live with a cousin of mine.
So you took the kids
yes,
with you when you were
I during the divorce, I took the...
You took them,
I took custody. And I had to go and live with my sister, my cousin. I was sleeping in the hall. They had 2 bedrooms, one for the kids, and then so I had to sleep in the hall. My son was living there, and I managed to get a 2-bedroom apartment in Committee 3 Tema. That is why I started life. And along the line, I was telling you I was hungry, and then it means I have to sell. I decided to do business. I decided to sell cocoa, wheat, Tom Brown, oats, oblai, equate.
I'm sorry. Wait. So from a life of, I'm an ambassador's wife.
Her Excellency, please.
Her Excellency.
Yes.
And I mean, I can.
Yeah.
I know that life because my mom was an ambassador. So I mean the cars, the flags, the service, the honor, the doors opening, the money, the salary, the free, the things.
Mm-hmm. When you even have to, we have something they call diplomatic bag.
Yes. And it comes and you go for it from foreign affairs and there's all.
So I have my clothes in it. I call my seamstress in Ghana to sew stuff for me and take it to the ministry, and they put it on a diplomatic bag.
To you.
And they bring it
to me. And then you go from that to selling cocoa, Tom Brown, wheat, and
oblayo, ekweg baby.
How?
Mm-hmm. And at that time, before I left Ghana, I took leave without pay to join my husband.
I mean, of course, what do you need your pay for?
Yeah, so when I came back, I took 4 years, and just along the line, I had to come to Ghana because my marriage is broken down, and I had to come to Ghana. So it means I didn't have my job there. So I was trying to plead with them to take me on, but I had to wait for a while. So then I was hungry. Even when I had my daughter early stages, I wasn't that hungry.
It wasn't. You didn't. So I mean, it means that when you were married, you didn't plan for a rainy day.
You see. That was a mistake I did. My world was my husband. My world was him. So I didn't plan. All the monies I had, I never saved.
You never saved?
I never saved.
And I'm sure there was a good amount of money that passed through your hands.
Oh, yes. Even when I was young and working at the airport, at that time, I had money. You could see 300 Ghana cedis a month. I have a baby. for me.
At that time, this is the 90s.
This is the 90s. The money was too much for me because I had left certain stage. I was able to manage 20 CDs. Then I have 300 CDs. So it was too much, and I saved a little. But hey, life, you're married to a big man, and he's giving you everything. What do you need money for?
Yeah.
So I never saved. So it was my brother. And I appreciate him so much, Sassy Atipo. He gave me 200 CDs, and I started the business. Wheat, Tom Brown, oats, Equate Baby, Oblayo. And I was selling to my colleagues at the airport. And nobody was wondering, why is your car? Oh, it's at the X workshop. And you know, I was living in Adenta. So I would carry it, and all the trotro drivers then, I knew them. So every time I'll book the front seat because I have to put my ice chest on me. Okay.
From ambassadorial to front seat trotro.
Yeah.
With Tom Brown, Oblayo, Equid Bemi, and Wheat.
I had to survive. And I'll take it to the airport and I'll sell it to my colleagues. And some of them would jokingly say, hey, ambassador, you're a cocoa seller. Me say, mundi matem na muntobi mame wate. And nobody knew. And I was doing that for a while.
Wait, before you move on, I mean, mentally, how did you make that mental shift from this life of privilege to selling cocoa? And I'm not talking about the fact that, okay, it's a necessity, so I have to do it. Because you could do it and you could have been depressed or suicidal. But you're talking about it like, okay, there was a certain strength because your friends are laughing at you and saying, you know, ambassador wife Coco, and you're like, whatever, just buy it for me. Like, so it doesn't seem like you or maybe I'm presuming, did you feel any sort of shame? Were you embarrassed? And how did you kind of like overcome that? Because also you could have gone to sell anywhere else where they didn't know you.
Yes, I was depressed. I was depressed. I had suicide thoughts. But what gave me strength was my kids. Okay, and I felt that, hey, I could do something for myself. And I did it at the airport because I worked with them. It started with, let me buy, my friend would say, buy me cocoa. Because every time I go to the airport, just to, you know, sit around for them to give me a letter to start to work.
Okay.
So, buy me cocoa. I was like, why wouldn't I buy the cocoa and come and sell at the airport? So that's how it started. Some encouraged me and some teased me. And of course, people didn't understand. And I wasn't prepared to tell anybody my problems. Because, so what is happening? But I don't know where I got that strength from. Sometimes I think about it, I'm like, how did I go about it? But hey, the problem is, probably you don't know hunger. When you're hungry,
you do anything.
You do anything to survive.
So this is the grass part of the story.
This is the grass from my grace.
Yeah.
And then to my grass. And then I had to sell this cocoa. And then, you know, airports, you can't be selling around. So I was hiding and then selling it. Sometimes the guys who would, you know, they'll have to come and sack you. That's the tax force. When I get there, I'll give them some. You Charlie get this so that they'll give me to sell. Then one day I went to the airport and then the guy seized everything.
The task force people.
The task force. Hey. And that was like, wow. So I went to my former boss and I told her about it. And he said, I can go and sell it at the terminal where we have a terminal where every morning the bus, you know, bring the stuff. So at least when you are there,
when you get off the bus, you
can buy. So the first day when you get off the bus, give me Tom Brown. And I worked so hard. I had 3 girls already under me. So and they stay with me. So we'll do it in the morning and then we'll come and sell. So in the morning by 6 I'm there and then I'll sell it to them. Everybody come and take and then cocoa, Tom Brown. Somebody would call me from home. And it was very delicious. It was so nice, the Tom Brown especially. And then the oats. And people would come and buy. Then one day, I got there. And then our HR manager came. Right in front of people, staff who had come. Who had just got off the bus. And just about 2 people had just collected their breakfast. This man blasted me and gave it to me and humiliated me. God, I pray I forgive this man till now.
You haven't forgiven him?
I haven't.
What did he say?
He humiliated me. Get away from here. You know you're not supposed to. And I'm very nice with him. And he's a reverend. That was where everybody got to know that I have issues. Oh, the feeling is so bad. I just broke down, cried. I cried. I was screaming. And the man was, Wow. He really, really humiliated me in front of my colleagues. And I was like, no, why me? Then everything started coming to me.
Yeah.
That was when the suicide thoughts started coming. So I cried and I went to the director HR. He saw me, he was like, what is wrong? Are you okay? I said, no, I'm hungry. I need my job.
Okay, so we'll give Felicia a second. This is a really difficult part of the story. I'm going to play the song that she asked us to play, so we'll be back in a second.
Joy 99.7. Joy 99.7.
This is Strong and Sassy, and it's the very first edition of the series that we're doing, My Story. We've been talking to Felicia Edem-Atipo. She's telling us her story. It's usually from grass to grace, but her story was the other way around. It was from grace to grass and back to grace.
Yes, back to grace.
Back to grace, yes. But we're at the grass part and possibly one of the lowest points.
Yeah.
Of your life. So you were just telling us about,
sorry,
going
I broke down because anytime I remember that, it hurts me so much, and that is what I've moved on, but that part I always tell God to help me get out of it.
We never, and I can relate to you, we never really forget the people who kick us down when we are already down.
Yes.
Years and years after. Years and years after. So I pray for grace for you as well.
So that was when he said, okay. And I had my letter. And then I was posted to the ramp. And at that time, I was going through my divorce.
So wait. So this thing happened with this HR person.
Yeah.
And then it got you to go to the director of HR, and you told him what happened. So that was a moment of raw honesty where you said, I'm hungry, I have lost everything, and I need help.
And I need help. And he was shocked. So he asked me a few questions, and I told him, and then he said, okay, you see what you could do for me. So that was when I was still doing the business, but I wasn't selling at the airport again. I was selling at the train station just around the time. And, because now my business had grown to a point where I was even adding food to it.
Wow.
So I remember I had a mini restaurant in one of these airport banks where the manager offered me the top that was their canteen, to have something like a restaurant. So I was selling there. When a new manager came, he said unless I have to pay rent, so I had to move out of the place, and then now I had to let all my workers go. And then I got my job back. I was going through divorce and going to school at the same time.
You're skimming through a lot of it, but every part is, you finally kind of are getting back on your feet. You have this space. Somebody comes, says, pay rent. You lose it. You lose your workers. You have to let them go.
You have to let them go.
And then presumably come back to the small.
Yes. And then I was then living at Community 3.
In Tema.
In Tema. And there's a train station at Sakumono Aprochona. So in the morning by 3, I get up and then prepare the wheat Tom Brown oat by myself. No, I get up at 1. By 3, and the packaging is the most difficult part.
Yeah.
So I package it and then, tie a cloth and then put it on my head and then take a taxi to the train station at Aprochona at Sakumono, and then sell it to the passengers there. By 6:10, the train will come and pass. So by 6:10, I'm done. Quickly go home, get my son dressed, and then I take my son to school and I come to work. And then in the evening, I'll go to school, because mind you, when I was Her Excellency, I was going to school. That was when I was doing my degree, and I had to. When I came down, I had to transfer my credit, and then I went to AUCC, African University College of Communication. So that was where I was schooling. So, I go to school. The classroom was my bedroom.
Yeah.
That's where I would sleep.
Because from 1 a.m.
Yeah, I would sleep. And when I come, I jokingly say, oh, Mummy, so that's what they always call me. It's because nothing. I can't learn.
You've been awake since 1 a.m.
At 1 a.m. Then one day, all of a sudden, I broke down. And in Community 3, I was living in the flats. I was at the top. So I just got there. I was depressed. I just got to my corridor, the balcony. I stripped naked. And I was just about to jump, because I've gotten it there. It's okay. Everything. I'm done. It's too much. Then all I heard was, Mommy, where are you? That was my son. It was about 12. And then he walked to me and said, Mommy, why? I said, oh, I was taking fresh air. He said, oh, come and sleep. And we were sleeping on a bare floor with curtains.
On the floor.
On the floor. And the light, you can't touch the light, because the moment you touch it will shock you. And I didn't have money to get electrician. So I was able to get plaster so that we don't touch the light.
We don't touch the light.
Yes. And I was close to the sea. At one time, I went to sit by the sea. As late as from 12 to 3 a.m., wanted to see Mami Water to at least come and take me away. Because we all hear there is Mami Water. And I stare at the sea till one day I was sitting down and I saw a policeman, the patrol team, they were having a game. They came to push me like, why you go home? I said, oh. So they even went to drop me home. these are things I wanted to end it.
Yeah.
Because there was no window. There was no, I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
There was no hope for me. I mean, and you hear people talking about you, saying all sorts of things
about you,
blaming you and everything. Okay.
At that point, you had the label of a former ambassador's wife, the label of a divorcee.
Exactly.
The failure of the marriage was probably your fault.
Exactly.
You couldn't keep a job. Now you are born too. I mean, I can imagine the number of labels that society would have put on you by this time.
Yes, and it was terrible because I was depressed, I was weary, I was tired, and sometimes when I'm taking my son to school before I go to work, my son will say, "Mommy, it's your fault. Today, like by now, we are sitting in a car going to school. Do we have to walk?" Because from my school from my house to the school, it was quite a distance. I said, "Nana, don't worry, I'll buy a car." Sometimes we walk and we see a nice car. I said, "Nana, this is our car. We'll buy a car." I remember, when we came back from outside, he had toys. And then one day I was sitting down and then she said, "Mommy, can we sell my toys?" I said, "Nana, no, we can't sell your toys." So we said, okay. Nana said, "What do we have to sell?" I said, "Let's do sobolo." Okay. So we started doing sobolo. And in the flats, we'll do sobolo and then get the bottles. And I remember she would go to the flats and go and sell. Sometimes he takes 10, 20 and he comes back with 20 Ghana cedis. And that is all we used to eat. And you know what? I was washing for people. In the community 3, I go for their clothes and I wash just to get soap to wash my clothes. Wow. That was my grass. And look, at that point, you don't think of who you were. You are thinking of surviving. Yeah. So I realized it was getting to my son too at a point. So one day he confronted me angrily, shouting at me, "It's your fault today, my friends. Some of them have PlayStations." And he, because when he goes to school, he sees the people's daddies coming to pick them. Look at me, I have to wait for somebody to come and pick me. And saying all sorts of things. So one day I sat him down. I said, "Nana, 2 things. Do you prefer that you go to school one day and your friends will laugh at you that your mother is mad at the psychiatric hospital? Because at a point I was going crazy. Or you prefer we be in this state and I work so hard for us to be comfortable. Tell me which one you prefer and then I'll give it to you." And then she said, "I prefer the latter." I said, "Good. We'll go about it." And that was what gave me the strength. That was what gave me the strength that from now on, we are going to make it.
Yeah.
Then we started.
Okay.
We started making ourselves happy.
Okay.
Sometimes when I get money, we go and buy chicken.
Okay.
And we sit down, chew. We don't care. We take a walk to the beach, we go and swim. And then we come home. Then I started having life. Then I told myself, okay, then I'll do politics. Because after I was married to a politician. And I said, okay, with all that I'm doing, can I get the women closer? Let's share our stories. Then it started. Then we were happy. My 40th birthday, I bought myself a rickety car.
Okay.
Every car, that car. I buy this car it's only at the end of the month that this car will spoil. Hey. At the end of that the car will spoil. I said, sometimes your salary will come, you have to use all to repair the car.
So before you continue, so it wasn't that your circumstances changed and then you started feeling better. It was you changed your mind.
I changed my mind.
And then you were able to change your circumstances.
Yes, I then had to change my. I said, okay, I'll go for rebranding. So people say, I know people say, oh, I have rebranded. Again, I went to cut my hair. I went to buy, clothes. I took a loan from the bank. Bought chairs and TV and, those stuff. Made sure to make my son comfortable. tried so hard, was working hard. I bought a car. We will move around at the end. Every a month ending, had to go to the workshop. Feel. The mechanics were my friend. I'll go and sit there, and then we chat, and then they'll do it for me for free, And then one day I said, this car, they have to change it. So I saw the car, and that money, we chop it in our mouth. I said, this case, I will take it to my next car, I swear. I realized that I had to make myself happy. I have to make everybody happy around. I have to make my son happy. So we started. I bought him a bicycle. So when he's going to school, he'll ride the bicycle home. I contested for community unit committee. When the assembly was going on, I gave him flyers. He went around, vote for my mother. He and his friends, when they come back, we buy wache, we eat. Life was okay. Life was okay. Then at a point, I had the opportunity to travel for about 6 years after number 2 point. I traveled, I made shopping for my kids, and I came back, and then life started again. So I realized it was me. It wasn't the problems. How I faced the problems. And I started. And I have an NGO, Let Single Parents Smile. I'm doing my politics. I'm empowering women. I'm going all out. I tell some of my stories on Facebook, and I'm the first female aircraft mashallah from being whatever and to selling cocoa there, and to being sacked. Then sadly, I got to ramp, and then I was able to rise. And one thing is, when I see women who are going through that, they become talkatives. Everywhere you want to explain yourself, you always want to be dramatic. Just try and joke with me, and I'll start insulting you. Wow. Yes, I became like a monster, and I realized no, that is not the Adam. That is not the bubbly, always happy Adam. The Adam who makes sure people around her are happy. And I had to change my perception about life, and that is where it has gotten me now. And I think I'm gradually in my grace.
I think so too.
Yes,
I think so too.
I'm in my grace.
I think you're back in your grace.
I'm back in
stronger and better.
And better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me take some of your messages. All of you have been listening and on Facebook. Thank you so much. This one says, I'm even crying. She says, I'm crying some impo. She's a strong woman. Not everyone could go through what she did and survive. This one says, touching story. When you are down, there's a lifting up by the hand of God. And Mickey says, what an emotional interview. Madam, may God continue to bless you each and every day. You're a source of motivation to some of us who are still fighting and hoping for a breakthrough. Okay, Papa Ansa wanted to know that when you were in your grace, chilling all over the world, were you still going to church?
Oh yes, I'm a church organist too.
Well, she's a church. You heard that.
I go to church.
Okay, an hour is not enough. We should extend. Okay, we'll try our best. Thank you so much for your messages. So just before we go, Adam, from everything that you've been through, what would you say is the thing that you hold on to the closest to your heart? Because life has ups and downs, and when we're up, we know that a down will come at some point. When we're down, we know that there's an up. So what's the thing that you really hold close to you for the days that lie ahead?
God and my children. God, because in all this, God has been with me. God has been my strength. And I believe that I know there's more ahead of me. And I still go to a little humiliations here and there. But sometimes I laugh at it and say, oh, this is just, you don't know what I've been through.
Yeah.
But it's God. I hold God so close. Yes. And in those times when I was going through all that I went through, I was doing all night by myself. And at a point, which church didn't I go to? I would go to some church B, and they would tell me to, in the morning, use my urine to wash my face. And to wipe away the shame and all that. So I got to it, I said, no, I think I need to talk to God myself.
Yeah.
So I stay indoors and pray from 9 to 5 a.m. And I didn't hear anything. I didn't dream that, oh, okay, it will be well. I didn't see my marriage coming back. But I believe that God was preparing me for something.
Yeah.
God prepared me for some woman somewhere who at a point I had to share my story with her. I don't know if I have to share this story with you. There was somebody who came to me and then she said, oh, their fiancé divorced, like call of the wedding. Just about a week to the wedding.
Wow.
And I told her that, look, I wish I were you. If I knew that is what I'll go through,
I would have gone through that. I wouldn't have.
I would have
married
stopped the
at all.
marriage. And I told her my story. And she was okay, and she had moved on. So I think that I went through all those because of certain people that I'll share my story and then to uplift them.
Felicia Atipo, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and thank you so much for gracing our show. We will be doing this for the next about 8 weeks, so you can look forward to more stories and more inspiration. I'm so grateful that you took time out to be with us tonight. May God bless you, and we're looking forward to many, many more years of grace.
And I'll use this opportunity to tell my NPP people that I'm going for Regional Woman Organizer.
Yes.
So they should vote for me.
Vote.
I have a lot to share and I have a lot to learn. And then we'll break the 8.
Okay. She'll break the 8. My name is Anim-Addo. Thank you so much for staying tuned in. We'll do this again next week, Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Then what